let's get squared away. Alright, this is just a framing test and lighting test. So, okay, lighting test 2. One more go. Okay, final light test. Take it back, it was not the final light test. Hopefully this is the final light test. What's up, Simeon here. A few weeks ago I was in Nashville for the US Coffee Champs qualifier, and I was very excited to see the Latte Art Championships making a resurgence, and there are several companies that are working to build interest in bringing latte art back to the US Coffee Champs stage. Since I've been involved with the US Latte Art Championships in the past, I wanted to make a video covering the history of the US Latte Art Championships from my point of view, as well as I want to make another video in the future about what is happening currently and what it's going to take to bring latte art back to the US Coffee Champs stage in 2020 or in 2021. Let's jump into it. So back in 2013, I was just beginning my Coffee Champs journey. And after placing pretty low in the regional barista competition early in the year, I decided to take a different path to the national stage. And I entered what was then the US Latte Art Exhibition. I ended up taking 4th in this competition, but I spent a good deal of time talking with judges and officials who were overseeing the competition about what needed to change in the future going forward to do well in these competitions. So I left the exhibition excited to see when the US could host a sanctioned championship and send their winner on to the World Latte Art Championship. And sure enough, in 2014, it was announced that the US Latte Art Championship was a real thing, and that the winner would go on to represent the US at the World Latte Art Championships in Melbourne, Australia. I took all that I learned from competitions so far, and I went to Seattle and competed for the title, and I won it. Now, despite all that I'll try to excuse it for and make it seem like no big deal, I had a national title. I was the US Latte Art Champion. I was actually the first US Latte Art Champion. And I went on to compete at Worlds, and I have to say it was a bit of a disaster. I was unprepared for navigating a world-class competition. I did everything by myself with no help from a coach. I continued to compete and at one point make finals at the World Latte Art Champions stage. So I returned to the competition in 2015 with what I thought was going to be a big edge over the other US competitors. And I wasn't wrong, with the exception of one competitor. Angie Chun. She just had a great combination of creative prowess and technical skill. And I recall watching her performance at the US Latte Art Championship, and she finished up, and I leaned over the person next to me and I said, "That girl just won." And sure enough, Angie took 1st, I took 2nd, Angie's brother, William, took 3rd. But what was really a sign for how far the US still had to go to be competitive in the World Latte Art Championships was that while Angie beat me by less than 5 points, besides her brother, the next best competitor was about 50 points behind us. Now, despite my encouragement to Angie that she go and compete at the World Latte Art Championship, knowing that she was way more prepared for it than I was, and obviously she had beat me fair and square, and she decided not to go and compete, and as runner-up, I was next in line, and I was given the opportunity to represent the US once again at the World Latte Art Championship in Gothenburg, Sweden. While I knew I wanted to do things better and I wanted to do things different this time around, I didn't have the support from my employer, and I didn't have the funds really to see myself through this competition in the way that I wanted to. I did receive support from some local coffee professionals, namely Marty and Tootie from About the Coffee, who loaned me a home machine that I could practice on, and of course from my roommates, who were always happy to pour latte art with me. But when it came time to compete, I found myself alone in Sweden, trying to organize all the moving pieces that went into this competition, this very complex competition. And again, I wouldn't say it was a total disaster, but I came up way short of my goal. In the end, it was Caleb Cha of Australia who won the 2015 World Latte Art Championship. I was somewhere near the bottom, but the biggest takeaway from the experience was the contrast between Caleb and myself as we prepared for that competition. See, I was working about 70 hours or more a week. I would wake up and I would roast coffee from 2 to 8 a.m. And then I would go and I would cup the previous day's production, 40 to 50 cups of coffee. And then I would spend the remainder of the day working in logistics and sourcing green coffee for a company that roasted almost 1 million pounds of coffee every year. So in the 2 to 3 hours that I still had left in the day to be awake, I would go home and I would pour lattes, and I would work on the competition for as much time as possible. But on home units, grinders, machines, it slows things down, and I would wager that I poured maybe 40 to 50 cups a night. Caleb, on the other hand, had a dedicated space to practice, and he would spend 4 hours a day, Monday through Friday, and up to 7 hours on Saturday, pouring hundreds of lattes to get ready for this competition. It's no knock on him. I admire his dedication and the way that he pushed not only the competition forward, but the industry in general by just the amazing creative way that he approached latte art. It really was inspiring. But I learned that if I was going to compete on a world level, I needed to be honest with myself whether or not I would have the means or the dedication to put forth that effort in the future. Alas, because of my poor performance at the World Latte Art Championship and the disparity of scores in the US Latte Art Championships, and primarily because of a lack of interest in the US Latte Art Championships, SCA decided that in 2016 they would not host latte art at the US Coffee Champs, and it has been absent for the past 4 years. In the future video, I really want to talk about kind of why latte art went away from the US Coffee Champs and what's happening now to bring it back, and whether or not I feel that the US is ready to compete on the World Latte Art Championship stage. So I'll have that out real soon. For now, thanks so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed kind of hearing my side of the story of my experience competing in the US and the World Latte Art Championships. For me, it was an amazing experience where personally I grew not only as a barista and a coffee professional, but just as a person in general, getting to meet people from around the world who were in the same industry as me and who served different people in different ways, and just kind of combining our experiences and finding those commonalities as well as those differences. It was an incredible experience, and I can't wait for more baristas to have the opportunity to do this in the future. So until next time, I hope you have a great day, great rest of your week, wherever you may be. Just wishing blessings on you, and until next time, cheers.